In this video, I would like to explore Saturn moving into Aquarius. So this is something that's happening from 2020 to 2023. It's a shift that we are all experiencing on a personal but also on a collective level, and that's why it's so interesting to explore, because it's actually proving if astrology is actually working in our day-to-day lives. So in this video, I would like to explore not only Saturn, In this video, I would like to explore Saturn moving into Aquarius. It's an event that's happening from 2020 to 2023. It's an amazing transition period that we can also explore if astrology is actually working for us on a personal level, but also on a collective level. And I would like to see a little bit more why Saturn is so important and what is the meaning of Saturn itself, the timelines, when it's exactly happening, and then also the themes that are occurring when we are moving into Aquarius. So please, if you are new, which you most likely are, because I am new on YouTube and I still feel a bit fresh to this whole thing, because I have to admit to you that this is not something that I have been choosing, that I actually have been, criticizing other people for going on YouTube, and now suddenly I find myself here wanting to share. So please, if you want to support me, then subscribe, give me a like, because for me it's really important to hear that this information is valuable, useful and inspiring for other people, because it makes me more enthusiastic to share more. It's something that I have been working with over years, and I have seen the benefit for myself and for other people, and I feel it's just time to come out of my hiding spot and share that with others. And I think YouTube is an amazing platform to do that, but still there's a vulnerability in it, because I know everybody easily can judge me. So please support me, form a community with me, share with me in order to grow together. All right, so today let's speak a little bit about Saturn moving into Aquarius. So Saturn has been moving into Aquarius on the 22nd of March. So it has moved from Capricorn into Aquarius. So that's on the 22nd of March first time, and now we are in the time of being in Aquarius for the first time, but then Saturn will go retrograde again, and we will move therefore out of Aquarius and move back into Capricorn on the 1st of July. So we only have like a 3-month period of where we kind of trying something new, stepping into something fresh, then moving back into the old, and then it will stay there in Capricorn until the end of the year on the 17th of December 2020, where we are moving for good into Aquarius. And that means simply for you, for the people who have Saturn in Capricorn, you're moving finally out of your Saturn return. And for the people who have Saturn in their Aquarius, you are about to experience your first Saturn return, or for some of you, maybe the second Saturn return. And Saturn for me, and for a lot of you out there, there's a negative connotation, challenges, difficulties. Saturn is a bitch, but really, for me, it's one of my favorite planets, and I want to share with you a little bit more why I love Saturn so much, because it's such an invitation for growth, for maturity, for growing into your potential and really owning it. And I think Saturn therefore is really just a matter of shifting your view upon it. It's not so much as a situation change, it's not gonna get easy, but Saturn definitely has a lot of qualities to kind of learn from the teaching it has to offer for all of us. So Saturn return is something I will speak more in another video, so search below the link or find on my channel where is Saturn return, where I speak more about that, because it's another favorite topic of mine to talk about with people, and it's a very, very important topic to speak about, because Saturn return takes about 29.5 years to come back at its place of origin, and that means where it started. That's why it's called Saturn returns, where it has been started with. And when Saturn returns is simply when you are growing into a domain, or you have to be confronted with a domain that you feel uncomfortable with. Maybe even you're fearing that domain in your life and you're thinking you don't want to touch that. But exactly because of that discomfort, there's so much potential in it. And Saturn is basically pushing out the best of you, you could say. He really knows there is potential in you and you are not daring to work with it. So now let's push you for the best. And when you are willing to finally work with that domain in your life, it's when you feel like pain, discomfort, challenges coming up, and you have to deal with them. And you realize into that pain that you're experiencing, the healing is happening, and the light of who you supposed to be, of your potential, of what you have to offer, is shining through that very same spot where the pain kind of appeared in the first time. And that's why Saturn is so important to work with. So now Saturn moving into Aquarius is therefore, like you could say, Saturn is simply like a domain that we all have to work with, and everybody has its own individual place in our own birth chart. But when we now move into Aquarius, it's just these themes of Aquarius coming into our lives. And Saturn is simply representing boundaries, limitations, and also accepting circumstances. And that means Saturn is kind of the most kind of planet that pushes you in the present moment, because everything that you experience, you have to perceive that experience on a physical level. So it's not something you understand with your mind, it's almost on a physical level in your human body, through which you experience accumulated information, and now through bodily sensations and emotions you really have understood. Truly you have been grinded by the difficult and challenging experience of being a human to actually acknowledge, wow, okay, I understand now. And that's also why, you know, like Saturn returns or Saturn experiences are very collective, like having a mortgage, you know, starting a new business, buying a house, like starting a family, you know, outing yourself. Like it's all like many different things. Like I could go on with many different examples. But it's also this principle of time, basically, where not so much, you know, about the past or the future, but much more this immediate experience which comes through lessons in life. And that's where you could say, from a spiritual perspective, or when you look at spiritual progress, then Saturn is like your biggest benefit that you could get in your life. And that's why I like Saturn so much, because yes, it's uncomfortable, but it really pushes you beyond your comfort zone. It really makes you grow. It really makes you step in your potential, because you actually do something. You become proactive, and you really become practical, and you do this one step that you always have been fearing from doing, and you have been trying to figure out, you know, building castles and defense walls and a bigger armor in order to get somewhere, but you actually not doing anything. And that's really what Saturn is. So I think Saturn is a huge invitation for everybody. I'm actually personally always tracking where my Saturn is, and you could say even on a more personal level, you could say what's really interesting right now, if you actually have an Aquarius ascendant, then Saturn moves right now from your 12th house, because that's where Capricorn is, into your first house. If you work with whole sign, which I do. And that would be a wonderful opportunity to do a birth chart reading if you have an Aquarius ascendant. Just saying that by the side, you can reach out if you want. But let's speak a little bit more about Saturn into Aquarius, because basically Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius, and right now we're moving from Saturn, moving from Capricorn into Aquarius. So it's kind of an interesting moment as well, where we're seeing Saturn in Capricorn as kind of the establishment, you know, the system. Saturn is also about working hard, you know, making it to the top, success, you know, and going beyond our boundaries and really pushing it, you know, letting go of our emotions and just making it work. And right now going into Aquarius is much more about the future of like finding a new way, finding an individual purpose, and what's our unique contribution that we can contribute to humanity. So that's kind of the shift that we are in, and you are seeing, like, because we have been moving into Aquarius, but we are moving back into Capricorn on the 17th or the 1st of July until the end of the year, on the 17th of December, we are again in Capricorn. We will experience this all again until we move again in the new. But already now we can see kind of the new themes arising. And that's simply like when you look now in the coronavirus, then right now, there's still an old approach that we're having, like more restrictions, more boundaries, more self-quarantine, and you know, all these rules that we kind of have to obey. And we will see that more and more time that's going on in self-quarantine, more and more people will say, hey, you know what, I'm not following that, or like these rules, I'm not obeying them, like in a true rebellious Aquarian manner, like I have to find my own way, or like my own belief system, my own opinion also counts. So it's not just about strong leadership, which is much more Capricorn, you know, Trump, like the president of Brazil, and you know, other populistic kind of, or you know, presidents or leaderships, however you want to call it, that are out there, where Aquarius is much more about, you know, cooperation, like coming into community and a team effort, working with others and finding this way of a new approach where everybody counts and everybody has something to contribute, and there's not one person that accumulates all the power on top of him or herself. And that's something that we're moving into, shifting, and it's a challenging time because we don't know really what the new means yet. We don't really understand what is coming, and that can also bring fear. But truly in every Aquarian manner, it's not just like in Capricorn where we are following the rules and society and trying to be the best example of what the norm is. Aquarius is like, you know what? I reject the norm. I have to go away and drop everything that has been told to me and the way I have been following. It's almost the minimalism of dropping everything in order to see what's still there when I drop everything, when I let go of truly everything. And that's like coming back to yourself. So in that sense, it's like a retreat, and we have all been in a retreat now, on a collective retreat with this quarantine going on. And that means you have to find back. It can also create more struggle, that you realize, wow, your old life is not working, the job you're doing you're not loving, the family life is putting you into more trouble and aggression and anger than actually peace of mind. So coming to a point where you really have to question your life is really necessary in order to come back to drop a lot and really figure out, like, what is it actually that's inherently alive within me that I can rely upon? And that's really the quirkiness or the weirdness that every Aquarian has, where it's like, I cannot connect with other people. I have to first find something that's alive within me, a purpose, a meaning that is there, that I want to develop and step into further on a personal level, that I can feel I have something to share that is meaningful for me and that I want to contribute to society or the humanity, because I really believe in that we are shifting or moving or growing together. And so therefore it's this kind of phase of like every Aquarius has to be by themselves alone to then from there move back and contribute. And in that sense you could also say, just in the times we are right now, where we're realizing we cannot really trust maybe the government, or we don't want to be dependent from the society. We want to be more independent. And that being more autonomous is like the Aquarian rebellion in its best, where you say, I really honor being on the countryside, having my own well, I have my solar system, I'm autonomous and I can take care of myself. And from there I want to be dependent again on our society and contributing and sharing, but from a place of autonomy. And I think it's just in a time where we are seeing that happening more and more, where we are seeing people letting go and finding their own way. And that also means that we have to reject what has been taken as a given or that we have accepted on a collective level, to now come back to what's really alive in us and what we can stand up for, because we truly have been connecting with that and living that ourselves. And I think that's something that's happening right now. And at the same time, we could say that innovation is really something that's coming also up, where we could say, yes, basically we're becoming more and more connected because of technology and innovation, but it's actually not it's not the solution, it's more the means to let go of diversity, because every Aquarian knows that inherently within themselves they have a weird kind of aspect or a strangeness or where I cannot relate. So from that sense, it's like an Aquarian time is much more accepting of diversity. It's almost actually realizing that's the beauty of life, that everything is diversity, everything is different, and everybody can live out his own way. And from that, technology can help us, like now with YouTube or whatever, to connect us and find our own tribe, our own community, our own platform that we can share and connect and dissolve any boundaries. And that's gonna be definitely a tool that we're gonna see more. Also, we're gonna grow into another culture because of pandemic. There is fears there, do we have to have something on our wrists, or that constantly checks our temperature, or have we been affected, that there is much more information being given to the collective. Is that something we want or not? So it's definitely going to be in a very interesting time that we are moving into. So less from an individual perspective where it's like I'm becoming famous and I'm doing this, but much more to what does everybody have that's unique and they can contribute to better society and collective. And that's a new way of living that we have to figure out, and that's something we have to start on an individual level in order to bring into the collective. And that's Saturn moving into Aquarius. And that's what we are experiencing right now. We will move back into the Capricorn age a little bit and then move for good into Aquarian until March 2023, where we then go into Pisces. So I hope this has been helping, or made you curious or stimulated some thought process. Thank you so much for listening, and I see you next time. Goodbye.